So yeah, ikigai means different things to different people, and we kind of know most Japanese don't really talk about it, and they certainly don't use a Venn diagram. And it sounds like from your Google Trend search, with the most popular term being no ikigai or lack of ikigai. Yeah, it's really interesting how it's become this buzzword and misunderstood, but that's often the case. Many words get misunderstood outside of Japan. Wabi sabi and kintsugi, the list could go on and on. But what happened to you when you first stumbled upon the word? Because I do have a really vivid memory of when I was introduced to it. And it was, again, in a really casual conversation. But what about yourself? When were you introduced to the word?
Well, I think it was after I had my career change, and I remember thinking because I was introduced to it through the Venn diagram actually. So that must have been like about 6, 7. And I was like, whoa, I wish I'd had this tool when I was planning my career change. And then with being exposed to different ideas, like listening to your podcast, as I mentioned at the beginning, like really was like, oh, hang on, there's quite a lot more to this topic. Wow. That sort of deepened my interest. And then, talking with, I was approached to write a book and wrote a proposal. And then the agent said, this is great, but there's like only your experience of what you think Ikigai is. So you need to get some other voices. And that's when the podcast started, was I was like, I need to interview people about what they think it means, how they've used this concept, different types of ways of integrating the concepts of ikigai, because I was quite frustrated that in a lot of the literature in English anyway, it was like I have to be 100 years old living in an island paradise, or I have to be some artisan, mastering some craft,
Hmm.
or a Shinkansen cleaner. Those are like the
Oh,
examples which are available to me. But at the time I was like a 30 something with a mortgage and an office job and 2 kids. I don't seem to be like hitting any of those examples of living with ikigai. So is it an option for me?
hmm.
And is it something which I can only achieve if I live in Japan? Like, is it something which is geographically bound? So that's why when and there was also these stories of like, oh, you have to like work for an MPO, because there was a lot of the like something the world needs. It was kind of like this good works in the world vibe, um, as well as like the payment piece that kind of came through. And so just hearing different ways that people interpret it has really deepened and expanded. And I think that for me, what's I'm loving more about the concept of ikigai now, I'm learning more about it, is how expansive it is.
Hmm.
And it can be those small things, it can be those moments, it can be looking forward to something, it can
Yes.
be looking through old photos, like just anything. I'm getting like, so right now, as I say this, I'm getting goosebumps. So for me, that's like ikigai,
Hmm.
because my body is having a physical response to the emotions of what I'm saying. And I can feel that my body is alive.
Yeah, you feel it.
So,
The key learning, it's something you feel, not achieve or chase. And so
yeah,
it really opens that door to how it's very subjective and personal. And it can even be private. That's something that Ken Moggy
yeah,
said to me. It can be something private, and it might be something that, a Japanese person won't discuss. They'll keep it to themselves.
yeah.
But yeah, we know Japanese really don't discuss the word. It's something they feel. And unfortunately, it's something many Japanese also don't feel.